this is actually like our first phase. And basically, our next presentation will be, our RFP and our what we want to implement. So it would basically be a proposal, and in that presentation, we want to get into more further detail. So basically, we just want to give an oversight of what our building is, what we're going to implement as far as the high performance building.
I mean, I understand how it works. But it's just important to start as early as you can. Later on, you want to know what you're going to do. The earlier you start, the better. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, a couple comments. Just to go off what Tom said, I have to agree. Probably lacked some examples of what you think you're going to go into your building by not putting the scope up front. So that probably would have been a good idea. I liked how you guys talked about the differences between LEED 2.2 and 3.0. I think it's important, so moving on to that. And I also liked how you broke down the categories and talked about each of those. But going back, you could have used some examples of what you maybe preliminary would have had in mind to use in your building. As far as the presentation goes, I know it's the first one, everyone's really nervous. There's going to be a couple of things. It's going to get a lot easier, I promise you. Listener, work on maybe keeping your feet planted a little bit. You were walking in front of the screen a little bit. And, but it's all good because I love that tie that you got on. Benazir, you were pretty planted, but you were very, very monotone. And I think maybe a little bit more relaxed. Just talk to the audience a little easier. And Doug, slowed down a little bit, probably a little fast. Other than that, I liked it. One last comment is you guys referenced everything at the bottom the whole time. It seemed like a lot of wordage at the bottom. I was trying to see where your links were, to what the pictures are. Maybe you want to shorten that up and just maybe throw it next to the picture instead of just having a big long thing at the bottom. That's about it.
I'm going to disagree with Tom. The one thing, as for the history, I seriously don't think it was that. The examples that he chose, I seriously don't think it was relevant to what the main purpose is, because he gave us the history of his store without really telling me why is it important, You could have given me more information as to why. This is the history leading to this, but the examples that you gave me did not really support that main idea. And he also gave me an example of a building, saying this is the perfect example of a green building, but he didn't even tell me anything about what makes it the perfect example of a green building. Talking to you. And he also made a claim that green building costs more, but you pay that up later. Without really telling me the benefits of actually building it. It's not costing more money. People will run away from it as opposed to doing it. Because people don't know how to spend. That's why I said afterwards you pay that up later. But in the beginning it wasn't really clear. And and as Tony said, it's the first presentation. I had a horrible time doing that first one, but it's gonna get better. I really believe that the flow of the presentation can go better. You guys probably need to work a little more on that. But besides that, it was very nice. Thank you.
Any other questions? There's wait, you?
Oh no, you said it.
I was just wondering why you choose Zenith. Like, what does Zenith stand for? Your company name.
That was basically, we had an idea before, and we wanted to be at the top of the mountain, and then we came up, we had a little trouble with the name of the beginning, and we had to come up with.
I think that's something good to think about right now, because your next presentation, it'd be good for your mission statement, help you out.
Well, Zenith, according to us, represents the highest point, and the highest point of light and all that, so.
Good.
Highest point of that.
Good thing.
Zach Amira?
That would be you. Just get higher up front.
All right, can we go to slide 5?
Ready for the
Well,
First, why is your numbers different, and what is the difference between electricity and energy use? You gotta tell me that.
we got the numbers from the USGBC website.
So did the other team, they have different numbers.
Ours was, theirs was EPA. But, I'm not really sure why.
We get into later on, we try to do the templates for the energy and atmosphere. And how do we calculate some of these things? So do a little bit work up front may help you, because in energy and atmosphere there's a lot of points there. If you are between 6.5% to 7.5%, you get another point. How do you get that percent? What number do you need to know? Is it a baseline number? Where do you get it from? What are the units? So I would do a little research to figure out what that is. Okay, now the previous slide from here. It's a pretty picture and everything, but when you were talking to us, you didn't tell us exactly what is going on here. Maybe now you have a few more seconds because you made perfect timing.
Well,
Just tell us exactly what you want to show.
This is the United States, as we all can see. And there are different countries and they all emit, greenhouse gases. And basically we, as the United States, emit as much greenhouse gases as all these put together. And this is, China also emits a lot of greenhouse gases, and this is how much they emit, and we almost double it. Laugh face.
So this is like a percentage of?
That's not how I would have explained it, but like for instance, you can look here and say South Korea emits as much as just 3 of our states. Right? Do you see that?
Yeah.
But yes. States can also range in size.
Right, and those are the 3 states: Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. And so people kind of have some idea, but it's difficult for us because we're from Florida. So maybe I don't know how well this thing resonates with the audience, and it's also really early in the presentation. But sometimes we find a really cool graphic, but it doesn't always fit.
Thank you guys.
See, that's the problem.
I'm having trouble reading the number. On 11, I don't remember who was speaking, but whoever the speaker was telling us that it's a big improvement in LEED because there's more points.
Point increase. So that means that there are new technology and new discovery are being introduced to improve the building.
I think I would disagree with that assessment. Maybe you should do just a little bit more research into what's the difference between version 2.2 and 3.
I would say that. One of the main things, I want to put more emphasis on energy and atmosphere. More reasons, more points.
I will leave the aspect ratio violations to my colleague.
Yes.
And let's just go to the 18, is it? The material and resources. Your numbers are too close to the edge. You can't read them. That one. What is the certification that you need to get certified wood in your building?
Certification on the wood.
Yeah.
I think it's FC. FC. Notes aren't there. Oh, we had notes on it. I believe it's like FC, has to be FC certified. FSC.
We don't know that answer. We'll get back to you. We'll take notes on it.
You know what FSC means? That was my next question. Don't worry about it.
It's in the recording.
On slide 20, are you sure you can get LEED points for designing feng shui?
No, you cannot get, but it actually, that's where I got stuck. But actually the innovation on design, it promotes the expertise in design. So I thought it was